hardly keeps a feller on his feet. Yes, it's hard bread, salt, beef, and whiskey. What are arms? Peaches, apples, oranges, what I need. Stack arms. Arms, pitch, tents, lay down in the bog. Wake up in the darkness, stand around and fog. Stack arms, pitch, tents, lay down in the bog. Fall out, darkness, stand around and fog.
There is not much news. Only that my parents are finding it difficult to manage the chores here
without the help of my brother Duncan. We hear from him only occasionally, as he seems to be quite busy in Louisiana. We have heard from others in his regiment that the occupation of New Orleans is a difficult one. I cherish my position as teacher here at school number 13. I am a member of the West Rochester Sanitation Committee, which is knitting wool socks for our boys. Perhaps you might one day be kept warm by a sock from my own needles.
My name is Kim Penn. I'm the Artistic Director of Lost Nation Theater, and I have the pleasure of directing a cast of 20-something people in our next production of Ransom, which is a musical drama inspired by letters that were written during the Civil War by Ransom Towle of Rochester, Vermont.
I sat down and started reading the script, and pretty soon I was crying. And my 8-year-old daughter walked into the room and said, "Papa, what are you crying about?" I said, "Well, I'm reading this thing about a war that happened 150 years ago." She says, "Well, if it was that long ago, how come you're crying?" She didn't really wait for an answer, but the question sort of stuck with me. I thought, well, there are two reasons. One is that, unfortunately, wars like the poor are always with us. And the other is that when I read about wars today, the dominant emotion is horror. And when I read about or see on the stage something that happened 150 years ago, I have the luxury of sadness being the predominant feeling.
It's really been a fascinating journey for me, getting to look into the history of the Civil War, not only in general, but also Vermont's involvement in the Civil War. I think, you know, people aren't really aware of Vermont as much as they are other states in the Civil War, and it's a shame because there's a lot of stuff going on, West Rochester and all of that.
And I am singing in the quartet in this show, and the quartet functions as a sort of Greek chorus, and so we sing about the feelings and what's going on, the feelings of the characters that are currently on stage, and expressing things that they can't necessarily express with their words. So it's pretty cool function.
You've done stuff like this before. I mean, this kind of type of music is familiar to you,
This type of music is very familiar to, and it's actually the first time I've gotten to educate some other people as to this era of music.
Like myself.
Like yourself, yes. But it's wonderful. It's, you know, the Civil War is where a lot of the music that pretty much any old-time banjo player plays is from.
Is that so?
Mid to late 1800s on into the early 1900s.
It's really fascinating working on this piece. I'm honored to be making my debut with Lost Nation Theater and celebrating their 25-year history, so very excited about that. And one of the things that's so exciting is these letters exist, so I get to read, you know, Ransom's letters to his parents, even a letter that he wrote just to me, his mother, and it's timeless because the cost of war, whether for the young men or women who are serving, and how it affects the community, it really doesn't change. So even if the way you're speaking or what you're wearing changes, the challenges and the loss and the hopes that all these people experience, everybody can relate to. And so it's this wonderful picture captured by Vermonters over time that is still just as current today, even if the words are a little different.
Yeah. Okay, boys, fall in.
Oh, we'll rally round the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. We will rally from the hillside, we'll rally from the plains, shouting the battle cry of freedom.
We, the women of the church, are so proud of you. I mean, all of you.
Ransom! Ruda. Thank you.
Ransom, come on!
Thank you. Miss.
Ransom!
It's time.
Come on, there's a war to fight! The Union forever!
Zebra.
Yes!
Laura was telling us about her day at school.
We haven't had word from Ransom in over a week. Do you think that he is still... You have a letter from him? Why didn't you give it to me?
I just now brought it home. Why don't you let Laura practice reading aloud, shall we? Laura.
Yes, Papa. Headquarters, Camp Griffin, Fairfax County, Virginia. Last night it snowed here, and this morning the ground was white and frozen, and it looked like Vermont somewhat. But it soon melted off and left a good bed of mud, very nice to drill in. Mud here is very different from Vermont mud. It's like clay, only more so. I don't want to beg anything of anybody, but I have received several letters saying that many would regard it as a privilege to contribute something for the benefit of the soldiers. I think I've written before that butter, cheese, maple sugar, and other substantial articles would be of most benefit to us here. Pepper, ginger, and tea would be of great usefulness, especially in case of sickness. Newspapers are thankfully received here, as we are short of reading. Most truly yours, Ransom.
You see, Zebra, we needn't worry. He's doing just fine.
I want him home! I want him home now.
Patience, my dear. You have to wait.
Mama?
Yes, dear.
Do you miss Ransom greatly?
Yes, dear.
Ransom could play the fiddle properly.
Yes, dear.
I'm sorry I'm not Ransom, Mama.
Would spare that tree, touch not a single bough. In youth it sheltered me, and I'll protect it